Discover the miraculous revelation, God's last divine word to Lucifer before his unexpected fall. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, the angelic host of heaven resonated with the divine melody of creation. As God artfully crafted the heavens and the earth, he summoned forth a being of unmatched brilliance, known as Lucifer, the morning star. This cherished seraph, adorned with precious stones, sardius, topaz, and diamond, shone with resplendent beauty, serving as the guardian cherub, forever fixed at the highest altar, radiating with the glory of the Almighty. With awe, Lucifer beheld the wondrous acts of God, witnessing light separate from darkness, and land arising from the deep. The symphony of creation filled the celestial realms, as God breathed life into his world, and all of creation sang in harmonious unison. Yet within this harmony, a discordant note began to swell, a whisper of pride that gripped Lucifer's heart. Over time, as he basked in God's presence, the luminescence that once brought him joy shifted into a mirror reflecting his own beauty. "Why should I not ascend above the very throne of the Most High?" he pondered, his heart swelling with vanity. The peace of heaven trembled as whispered intrigues of his desires began to grow, captivating not only himself, but a faction of angels who gazed upon him with admiration. God observed this turmoil with a heavy heart, and in a moment of profound gravitas, his voice rang out through the expanse of heaven. "O Lucifer, you who were made perfect and full of wisdom, heed my words. Your rebellion will lead to darkness. It will be your pride that becomes your downfall." The celestial assembly held its breath, for the resonance of divine love struck a chord even within Lucifer's rebellious heart. But rather than yield to the divine counsel, Lucifer's heart hardened like stone. "I shall not serve. I shall establish my throne above the stars of God, ascending to the heights of the clouds." His defiance resonated through the halls of heaven, igniting a furious ambition that threatened the integrity of the celestial order. As he gathered allies, the growing schism threatened the cosmic horizon. Anguished celestial beings witnessed the unfolding rebellion, and the once harmonious atmosphere grew thick with tension.
The Almighty's anguished heart broke at the prospect of losing his creation to darkness. Would Lucifer embrace the divine path of humility, or would he plunge deeper into the shadows, summoned by the relentless pull of pride? The outcome lay precariously balanced, a crossroads of choice and consequence that awaited him. As the host of heaven braced for the unfolding of a cosmic drama, whispers of vengeance stirred amidst the starlit expanse. The weight of eternity hung in the balance, and the prophecy of old began to awaken, hinting at salvation yet to come, riding the waves of hope amid the darkening skies. What lay ahead for Lucifer and the celestial realm remained shrouded in divine mystery, as their fates intertwined in the light and shadow of unfathomable choices that would echo through time and eternity. The fierce rebellion of Lucifer engulfed the heaven. The stirrings of discontent were palpable, streaming like dark clouds through the once serene celestial abode. The angelic hosts, who had sung praises to their Creator, now felt the chill of division settle over divine harmony. In the midst of such turmoil, Michael the archangel stirred from his righteous slumber, summoned by the sound of betrayal that rippled through the heavens. Mighty in strength and adorned with the shield of faith, he approached the throne of God, heart heavy with concern. "O Lord of hosts," he interceded, "the rebellion grows fierce, and Lucifer's words lead many astray. What shall we do in this hour of darkness?" The Lord, in all his wisdom, looked upon the crisis that threatened his creation. "As I have given free will, so too shall I allow for choice. The hearts of those who follow Lucifer shall reveal their true allegiance." A decree echoed through the expanse. "Let it be known, light and darkness cannot dwell together. A separation must come, for sin cannot abide in my presence." With this declaration, God summoned forth a council of the faithful angels, the seraphim and cherubim who still gazed upon his face in adoration. Their voices united in worship, a clarion call of hope in the face of impending division. "O Lord, what shall we do?" they pleaded, knowing the consequences of this great rift would echo eternally. "It is time for conflict," the Lord responded, his voice a blend of sorrow and sovereign authority. "Michael shall lead the hosts of heaven against those who have chosen the path of rebellion. For I will not allow my creation, once called good, to be marred by darkness. They must choose what is true." Thus the scene was set for a great confrontation. A celestial war would erupt across the luminous vaults of heaven. As angels took their positions, the air crackled with expectancy. The glory of God infused each faithful heart. Yet amidst them, the whisper of insecurity lingered, for Lucifer's deceptive charm and twisted eloquence had ensnared many.
"Do not be dismayed," cried Michael, brandishing his sword of light, "for we walk in the name of the Almighty, and his will shall prevail." He called to the legions of heaven, "Who is like our God? Who can stand against the Creator of all? We shall fight, we shall reclaim the light." As the celestial armies readied themselves, a change rippled through the heavenly realm. The lines had been drawn. The battle for dominion over creation was about to unfold. God gazed upon his creation with compassion and determination. He understood the cost of this confrontation, for every rebellion would bear its weight, and yet, in his omniscience, he saw beyond the immediate darkness. In that moment, God whispered a secret promise to Michael and those who stood steadfast against the tide. "From this conflict, new life shall spring forth. For out of the ashes of rebellion, I will bring forth redemption, a plan written since the foundation of the world. The serpent may strike, but the seed of the woman shall crush his head." As the skies of eternity trembled with both fear and hope, the stage was set for the unfolding of God's grand design. The outcome of this celestial battle remained hidden from all, but the promise of a future covenant glimmered on the horizon, revealing deeper layers of his sovereign plan ready to be unveiled. What was to come could change the course of all existence, intertwining fates with threads of grace and revelation, shrouded in divine mystery. As the heavens prepared for war, the air grew thick with anticipation. The loyal hosts of heaven rallied by Michael, ready to clash against the forces of Lucifer. Silence enveloped the gathered multitudes, the weight of the moment pressing heavily upon their hearts. They believed they stood on the precipice of destiny, awaiting the command of their Creator. In that sacred stillness, God's voice reverberated through the expanse, tender yet firm. "Let the clarity of my purpose shine forth," he declared, "for I will not allow my grace to be overshadowed by the pride of the fallen. Let each angel know the truth of their allegiance, for a great revelation shall be made manifest." Lucifer, robed in splendor but consumed with pride, felt the ominous tide rising. He turned to his followers, eyes aflame with rebellion. "Do you see, my brethren?" he taunted. "The Creator now reveals his hand for all to see. We have the power to rise against him. Are we to be led by a tyrant disguised as a father when we could seize our rightful place?" The murmurs grew among the ranks of the deceived, a stirring of doubt that echoed in the void of eternity. Yet amidst the swelling chaos, Michael rose, radiating the purity of hearts still faithful to God. "Remember, O angels of light," he proclaimed. "He brought us forth in love and gave us purpose. We are not mere servants, but beloved children of the Almighty. It is we who shall defend the truth and usher in his kingdom of light." With these words, the tide began to shift. A flicker of resolve ignited within the hearts of some who stood on the edge of persuasion. In that moment, the Lord spoke once more, addressing both the faithful and the fallen. "Lucifer, you were created with brilliance, a guardian of the light, yet you have turned to darkness. I extend one last plea, for my heart longs to redeem even those who have chosen this path of despair." The celestial atmosphere thickened as the weight of his words enfolded all. "If you relent, the path to redemption remains open. Turn from your rebellion and seek the light you once cherished. The choice lies within you." A profound silence gripped all as Lucifer faced this final entreaty. The weight of eternity hung in the balance, drawing forth a deep conflict within him. Visions of his former glory, when he led the songs of heaven, mingled with the allure of power now whispered in his ear. But pride is a fierce adversary. Lucifer's heart, inflamed by the very deceit he sought to spread, hardened against the divine offer. "Never!" he roared, the defiance spilling from his lips. "I shall not bow to the one who seeks to diminish my glory. I shall be as the Most High." Michael and the loyal angels could only look on in sorrow as the pivotal moment passed, a defining choice for all of creation. The heavens trembled as the archangel understood the weight of the upcoming battle. The war was not just for dominion, but for the souls caught in the midst of deception. Then the clash erupted, a conflagration of light and shadow, fury and grace. Sword against sword, shield against shield, the battle for the very essence of existence tore through the realms. God's righteous judgment began its descent upon the abyss. Amidst the chaos, the promise persisted. A new covenant lay veiled within the storm. The echo of reconciliation shimmered in the hearts of those who remained, a divine assurance embedded in the fabric of the war unfolding. What new revelations would arise from this celestial confrontation? What threads of grace would weave through the tangled despair of rebellion, beckoning all toward the unmerited mercy of a forgiving Creator? The divine mystery continued, waiting to be uncovered, as all of heaven held its breath for what was to come. As the clash intensified, the heavens reverberated with the sound of celestial conflict. Michael stood resolute, his sword drawn against the encroaching darkness, the light of God illuminating his form as he rallied the faithful. "Onward, O warriors of the Most High! We battle not only for our light, but for the very fabric of creation. Let us not falter." The loyal host surged forward, a torrent of brilliance clashing against the shadows of rebellion that clawed desperately for dominion. Each strike of the sword, each shield raised in defense of truth, resonated with the echoes of righteous defiance.
The air crackled with the fervor of angels, echoes of their divine purpose surging through their ranks. Yet as they fought valiantly, Lucifer, the once brilliant archangel, called upon the depths of his depravity. "You are but a fleeting whisper in the roar of my glory," he bellowed, commanding his followers with a voice steeped in malice. "Do you not see? The Almighty desires not your hearts, but your subservience. Rise with me, embrace your true nature, cast off the bonds of servitude." As tumult grew amidst the ranks of both loyal and rebel angels, a shadow of doubt washed over some. The power of rebellion was intoxicating. It promised greatness, yet it veiled an abyss of despair. It was in the midst of this turmoil that a voice, rich in authority and love, pierced through the war-torn skies. "Lucifer," the Lord proclaimed, his voice reverberating through the spheres. "The time of decision has come. You have chosen the path of shadows, yet I offer you mercy anew. My grace extends even unto you, for my heart aches for the fading light in you." The warriors of light paused, breath held tightly within their beings, caught between the tumult of battle and the profound declaration of their sovereign king. Michael, emboldened, stood before the fiercely divided forces. "Heavenly host, behold, our king calls not merely upon Lucifer, he calls upon all. He calls for a return to the light." Lucifer paused, the weight of divine love pressing upon his hardened heart. Thoughts of his former role as morning star flickered vividly before him, the songs, the glory, the unity in purpose. In that moment, doubt crept into his heart, subtle yet fierce. "Would you dare mend what has been shattered?" he snarled, yet the tremor in his voice betrayed an inner turmoil. "You speak of mercy, but I will not risk my power for a shadow of hope." The battle raged on, yet a thin line of light appeared amid the darkness. The faithful angels began to draw near, their spirits ignited by Michael's declaration. "Together we shall be as one. Light shall triumph over darkness, and truth shall prevail." And thus they charged again, but with renewed vigor from the hope offered by the Almighty. As fearsome forces collided in a tempest of light and shadow, the heavenly chorus sang, an anthem of resilience. "In the midst of war, the grace of God shall not waver. We fight not for victory, but for reconciliation." Yet amidst the rising cacophony, a forbidden truth lingered, An unseen promise awaited, hidden within the folds of conflict. The battle was but a prelude to the greater work God was orchestrating. The faithful hearts remained steadfast, yet deep within the heart of creation, a mystery beckoned, one of desolation and hope. As the celestial realm trembled under the weight of conflict, a whispered truth remained poised for revelation. What transformative act lies within the intentions of God?
Could it be that from this profound discord a greater salvation shall rise, one that none dared to foresee? The stage was set, and a divine unveiling awaited, for the hearts of all creation trembled in anticipation of God's sovereign plan. As the voices of the celestial hosts echoed like rolling thunder, the combatants pressed on, both light and shadow intertwined, caught in a tempest of divine fervor. Michael raised his sword higher, its brightness cutting through the shroud of despair. "Fear not, for the Lord of hosts fights with us. His might shall shatter the chains of rebellion, and his truth shall shine forever. Look not upon the darkness, but fix your gaze upon the light." The angels rallied behind their captain, their hearts ignited with courage, yet amongst the faithful, doubt still lingered in hushed whispers. "What if the enemy's promises bear sweet fruit?" some lamented, the allure of Lucifer's words clawing at their resolve. But Michael, with eyes aflame, sensed their wavering spirits. "Return to the purpose for which we were made. We were crafted from love to reflect his glory. Let not despair overshadow our birthright. Remember, his mercy is our strength." Lucifer, standing amid the chaos, felt the weight of the conflict pressing upon him. The fiery shafts of light pierced through his darkness, bringing forth memories he had long buried, the eternal praise of the throng, the harmonious singing that once echoed in the chambers of heaven. "Michael, you would have them believe in a fading hope," Lucifer shouted, fury resonating in the depth of his voice. "What has your obedience brought? Only servitude. I offer them liberation, unshackled autonomy." Yet God's voice thundered once more, resonating powerfully within the tumult. "Lucifer, O fallen one, I sought to provide you a path to restoration. Is it too late for you to search your heart? For I long to redeem and not to condemn. My desire is for you to know the depth of my love, to turn back to the eternal light which you now reject." The celestial warriors drew closer, their fervency igniting a blaze of devotion to reclaim what was lost. "O mighty God, even in darkness we will praise your name," they proclaimed. With Michael leading, the light spread like a wildfire, engulfing the shadows that crept upon them. As the angelic troops surged forward in unity, Lucifer's forces wavered momentarily. The depth of longing for acceptance flickered momentarily in the heart of the once radiant being. "You seek to break my spirit with this love?" he seethed, yet the moments of hesitation betrayed him, revealing the covert battle raging within. And suddenly, in the midst of the fray, a silence fell upon the battlefield. The divine harmony of heaven intertwined with the chaotic cries of battle, leaving an invisible rift where the very air vibrated with the tension of an impending decision. At that moment, Gabriel, the messenger of God, descended with a countenance of pure resolve.
What will you choose, O angel of light? Will you continue in defiance, or will you heed the call of mercy? The faithful, bolstered by this divine revelation, gathered in formation, awaiting Lucifer's response. But the adversary stood torn, wrestling with the king's invitation. Would pride drive him further into darkness, or could he embrace the offered grace? As the battle commands erupted anew, a glimmer of hope flickered within the hearts of angels and darkness alike. This conflict was more than just a war. It held within it a divine purpose, yet to be fully revealed. In that sacred stillness, a promise began to unfold, unspoken, yet palpable. What unforeseen reconciliation shall emerge from the ashes of this discord? What sovereign act yet lies hidden, waiting for hearts willing to be transformed by the light? Thus, amidst the clamor of war, the eternal question loomed. What future awaited this celestial realm once the dust of the battle settled? What divine promise lay behind the veil of conflict, one that even the forces of darkness could not conceive? Then, as the battlefield quaked with the echoes of clashing wills, the archangel Michael stepped forward, the clarity of his voice breaking through the tumult like a beacon. "Lucifer, the time approaches swiftly. The Lord's patience is your mercy, but also your final chance. Speak now from the depths of your soul. What will it be? Freedom in Him,
or eternal descent into ruin. The forces arrayed on both sides seemed entranced, their warfare momentarily suspended by the weight of that profound question. The air grew thick with anticipation, as brows furrowed and hearts beat in unison, awaiting the fallen one's reply. All of heaven and earth seemed to hold its breath, for the outcome of this moment would shape eternity. Lucifer, embattled in his own heart, gazed out across the celestial host. Memories flooded his mind, swirling images of radiant glory and the harmonious praise of the Most High. Yet the gnawing ember of resentment whispered deceitful promises of self-governance, of reign over creation unfettered by the chains of divine authority. "Michael," he spoke, his voice laced with bitterness, "you speak of freedom, yet what do you know of true liberty? It is the strength of individual will that births greatness. Do you not see how shackled you remain in your so-called obedience?" But Michael's gaze pierced him, unwavering and filled with compassion. "O Lucifer, what is freedom if not rooted in love? It is shackles that bind you now. The light of obedience shines not in bondage, but in the glory of the one who calls us to unity and purpose. Remember, our essence is not power, but submission to the Most High." The archangel's words ignited a ripple, breaking the silence like a fragile glass. Angels whispered fervent prayers and longings into the unseen, lifting their voices to stress the beauty of their divine creation. The chorus resounded far and wide. Elohim,
guide him back to the light. Let not his heart be hardened. Yet still doubt shadowed Lucifer's countenance. "Your song is merely a lullaby for the naive," he retorted, desperation clinging to each word. "Can you not see? There is no healing for a heart that has tasted sovereignty. The higher I rise, the more I grasp my fate." In that moment, the heavens were stirred, and thunder rolled across the sky, brought forth by the King of Glory, as he spoke once more, with a voice that wrapped creation in awe. "Lucifer, my beloved, even now you can choose redemption. My heart yearns for your return, for you were fashioned to reflect my glory, not to obscure it. Come home." The divine invitation hung heavy, hanging like a golden thread across the chasm of choice. But Lucifer's gaze darkened, drawn to the whispered flicker of power and pride. He stood on the brink, realization dawning, yet resistance gripping him still. "I will not submit," he declared, a fire blazing in his eyes. "I shall fashion my own light." At those words, a tremor shook the heavens, and a sorrowful silence descended, heavy with the weight of impending separation. The tug-of-war between light and darkness culminated, roiling with the tension of heaven's final hope and the adversary's insatiable ambition. Thus, in that moment of pivotal decision, the celestial realm waited, poised on the tip of divine revelation, filled with the awaiting question: what consequences would ripple out from Lucifer's damning choice? What path would fate carve for both the chosen and the fallen, leaving the legacy of their eternal conflict echoing through the ages? With the battleground vibrating with the echoes of two realms, the mystery of God's sovereign plan lay just ahead, shrouded in divine suspense, aching to be revealed. What unforeseen lineage of creation and redemption shall now emerge from this celestial clash? As the skies darkened with the weight of choice, the thrumming heartbeat of creation echoed each pulse in the hearts of those present. In the trembling quiet that followed Lucifer's defiant claim, Michael, steadfast as a mountain, raised his voice once more, rich with sorrow. "O Lucifer, your mind holds vast knowledge, yet your heart blinds you to the truth. What victory shall you find in the shadows of your pride? Does not the light of the Creator illuminate the path of peace?" The anguished whispers of the angelic host crescendoed, reverberating against the celestial walls, each note pleading with fervent fear. "Return, O lost one. Let mercy find you before the dark consumes your brilliance." Yet within the depths of Lucifer's heart stirred a tempest, deeper than the ocean's abyss, thrumming with the weight of 1,000 sins. "I shall not be swayed by your empty promises, nor shall I languish in the dull chains of your obedience," he retorted, the fire of rebellion igniting anew. "I am the morning star, the bearer of my own fate."
I shall not cower before a throne that claims dominion over my purpose." In that moment of cosmic tension, the voice of the Almighty resounded once more, a gentle murmur amidst the chaos, yet resplendent with authority. "Lucifer, beloved of heaven, even now my hand extends to you. My heart aches for your salvation. Heed my call. You were created as the sum of splendor, yet you choose to emulate a shadow? Shall you cling to darkness when the light is offered freely?" The air trembled as angels bowed their heads, their wings cloaked in the heavy sorrow of impending loss. Michael's heart ached. He felt the burden of an everlasting love to which Lucifer remained blind. "O fallen one," he cried, voice trembling, "cannot you see? In your pursuit of independence, you weave your own chains. The Father is love, and in that love lies the only freedom worth grasping." Time seemed to suspend, as millions of hearts stretched forth in prayer, striving for the moment to break through Lucifer's hardened resolve. Yet, defiance remained his mantle. He scorned the embrace of unity, insisting upon his autonomy. "There shall be no chains upon me, Michael. I am not your servant, but a sovereign in my own right, for I shall carve out a realm of my own design." At these words, the silence shattered. The decree of heaven had been issued, and the time for choice had unfolded. The heavens bore witness to the weight of his decision, trembling as if the very fabric of existence was threatened by the implications of his rebellion. Thus, while the angelic realms stood united in sorrow, prepared to enkindle their lamps of hope, the dark void yawned before Lucifer, beckoning. "So be it, fallen light," he shouted defiantly, and in that moment, the heavens witnessed a fracture, a reality not bound by the will of the Almighty. And yet, even as he embraced the looming darkness, the divine whisper of God surged forth, a last unyielding truth from the throne, laden with promise. "From your fall shall come a seed of sorrow and redemption, for the depths of despair cannot claim the richness of my love. Through trials shall many rise, even by the very choices you now make." What unforeseen lineage of hope and despair would be birthed from this celestial schism? Like a quivering thread of fate, God's sovereign plan wove through the fabric of time, poised to reveal the mystery of grace, arising even in the shadow of rebellion. And in the wake of Lucifer's defiance, silence enveloped the heavenly host, the kind of stillness that settled before a storm, heavy with unspoken grief. The angels looked upon one another, their swirling wings folding in a posture of unyielding prayer, each keenly aware that a profound change was upon them. Then, the resounding voice of Michael, like a clarion call, pierced through the umbra of dismay. "Behold, O celestials, the time for anguish has not yet begun, for in the heart of the Father dwells a plan of unimaginable grace, even amidst the chaos of betrayal."
Though the morning star seeks to ascend upon his own light, from his fall shall come a luminescence that will shine into the deepest shadows. The faithful angels held their breaths, for they sensed the weight of his words. Michael continued, his voice firm yet tender. "O creation, see how our fate intertwines with the choices of the one who throws himself into the void. For from his rebellion shall come the birth of humanity, a thread woven from the tapestry of divine redemption." In that moment, a radiant light enveloped Michael, as if the essence of divine truth was surging forth, illuminating the darkness encircling Lucifer. "The seed of hope shall be sown," he declared, "and through the dust of man will rise a lineage marked not by pride, but by humility, not by isolation, but by communion." Lucifer, feeling the ardor of Michael's conviction, turned fiercely, his face shadowed yet livid with fury. "You think your words hold sway over my resolve? I have chosen my path. My light shall not be dimmed by your feeble assertions of love." His voice echoed against the walls of heaven, filled with pride, yet laced with a dread he dared not acknowledge. Suddenly, a swoosh of ethereal wings broke through, heralding the presence of other angels who gathered in solidarity with Michael, their songs of praise rising like incense before the Almighty. "O Lord Most High, we beseech thee,
we lift our voices for the one who cannot see. Their hymn climbed the heavens, a symphony of intercession and hope. Seeing their unity, Lucifer meditated upon the anger and despair within himself. Yet amid this tempest, a flicker of doubt crept into his heart. What of free will, if I am constantly implored to return? He mused, voice lowering to a trembling whisper. Is there not truth in my desire? A light from the throne illuminated the space, and the Almighty spoke once more, filling the void with strength. Lucifer, could you not perceive that all created beings are meant to reflect my glory? I grant you the freedom to choose, yet love demands that you exercise your will, not in defiance, but in unity with me. In that moment, all of creation seemed to hold its breath, as if awaiting the next heartbeat in the divine story unfolding before them. By your choice, the souls of multitudes shall face trials of their own making, and yet they shall find redemption through the lineage I will establish, even through the messianic promise that is to come. Thus the sacred tension hung, a testament to the conflicting natures of freedom and obedience, rebellion and grace. The celestial assembly shuddered, aware that the ripples of this divine dialogue would shape all that was to follow, marking the beginning of humanity's quest for restoration. Unbeknownst to Lucifer, the struggle had only just begun. The shadows loomed large, yet a glimmer of hope remained.
From this celestial schism would emerge a path fraught with trials, leading to victory that would echo throughout eternity. And so the stage was set for a divine saga of redemption, one that transcended the darkness ahead. For within the heart of the Creator lay a promise yet to unfold. From your very fall, I shall resurrect the light that pierces all darkness, establishing a covenant with those who dare to believe. What mysteries would reveal themselves in the flesh of humanity, and how would they respond to the echo of divine love amidst their trials? As the thoughts of the mighty Archangel Michael hung heavy in the air, a celestial stillness prevailed, accompanied only by the echoes of reverent hymns of the angels, who filled the expanse with cries for mercy and grace. In that sacred arena, where light clashed with the burgeoning darkness of rebellion, Lucifer stood emboldened yet frail under the weight of his convictions. "Very well, O Michael," he declared, his voice resonating with a mix of defiance and unease. "If your prophecy of humanity's emergence is indeed the Father's design, then I shall lay claim to that inheritance and twist it to my purpose." A flicker of uncertainty flashed in his eyes as he spoke, betraying an inner turmoil at the magnitude of his own declaration. Then a soft yet firm voice unfurled from the heart of the throne, commanding attention and bearing immeasurable authority. "Lucifer, do you not see that even your attempts to forsake my light are known to me? I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose this day whom you will serve, and learn that rebellion only furthers the path to redemption." The Almighty spoke, each word reverberating with the might of creation itself. At that, the assembled angels peered into the depths of their own hearts, haunted by the prospect of freedom turned against them. "What must we do, O Father?" they implored, a chorus of desperate yearning, seeking to fathom the counterbalance to the prideful fracture they witnessed. "Be steadfast, for the journey ahead is wrought with peril, yet it shall give rise to new life." The voice of the Almighty resounded, filling the vastness of heaven with unearthly hope. "Though sorrow may endure for a night, joy cometh in the morning." The echoes of divine promise surged like a windstorm through the realms, as the angels breathed deeply, their hearts ignited with the understanding that their role in the vast cosmic dance must now include courage in the face of evil. In this tension-filled moment, the weaver of all things began to unveil the loom of destiny. "Through the offspring of the woman, the seed shall come that will crush the head of the serpent, and it shall be through trials that my purpose prevails."
his voice declared, rippling through their very essence and illuminating the shadows eclipsing their faith.
Lucifer clenched his fists, the weight of the Almighty's words burrowing into his heart, igniting a blaze of discontent. A seed? You speak of a child? Know this, I shall strive to set a snare for the lineage you promise, twisting the hearts of men to darkness and despair. His defiance radiated like venomous smoke, choking the light of the revelation unfolding around him. Michael stepped forward, unwavering and filled with fervor. Your threats shall not hold sway, for it is written, Blessed are those who trust in the Lord. They shall be like a tree planted by the streams of water, which yields its fruit in season. The faithful shall rise up in strength, and your schemes shall unravel. Yet as the light from the throne poured over all, the depths of the unknown grew deeper. The angels watched, a mixture of fear and hope entwined in their very beings, for they knew they were now unmoored from complacency. The path ahead would demand their all, for the battle was no longer confined to the celestial, but had spilled into the world that awaited the birth of humanity. Remember this, O celestials, spoke the Almighty with gravity. Your stand will not only define the fate of Lucifer, but the fate of creation. The covenant of grace has been established, and through it shall all who believe find a light that guides them home. As the tension hung palpably in the atmosphere, the angels felt the stirrings of both joy and sorrow intertwining. Their existence would forever be shaped by the impending collision of will and glory. For those shadows loomed, the dawn of redemption was at hand. And thus ended the divine counsel of heaven, yet the echoes of the Almighty's covenant lingered, painting the horizon with the colors of grace. It remained to be seen how humanity, once birthed, would navigate the storm, carrying with them the legacy of their forebears, in a world marked by trial, but destined for restoration. Would they comprehend the depth of love woven into the fabric of their very existence? This new beginning awaited the response of a yet-to-be-born creation, thrust into the grand narrative of redemption. In the twilight of cosmic conflict, the heavens held their breath, and the fabric of eternity quivered at the price of pride. Amid the celestial battleground, a profound reckoning began to unfold. Michael, resolute in his commitment, turned his gaze towards Lucifer, his voice rich with a sorrowful determination. O Lucifer, light-bearer turned harbinger of darkness, your choice is made, yet hope remains stitched within the tapestry of grace. Even in your fall, redemption calls. As the ink of rebellion painted the skies above, a ripple of unity surged through the faithful hosts of heaven. The cherubim and seraphim, adorning themselves in the radiance of their Creator, encircled Michael, their beings vibrating with the anthem of love and allegiance. O glorious Creator!
They chanted, voices unfurling like blossoms, reaching toward the sun. Though darkness encroaches, your light shall never fade. The powers of rebellion writhed, for beneath their bravado lay trembling hearts, uncertain yet tethered to the malignancy of Lucifer's pride. As he stood amid tempests of fury and desperation, distant echoes of melodies long relegated to memory resonated painfully within him. Oh, to taste the harmony anew, he breathed, yet fear twisted tight around his heart, whispering deceitful promises of autonomy. Then let it be known, declared the Almighty, his voice now a thunderous river cascading through the heavens, that from your rebellion shall spring forth a lineage bound for freedom. Through the turmoil you have sown, I will bring forth a salvation that will echo until the end of days. Each syllable bore the authority of creation itself, shaping destiny anew. Lucifer, torn between the echoes of former glories and the treachery of pride, raged against this divine decree. So shall it be, then. If you give life to humanity, mark them as targets for my wrath. I shall ensnare their hearts, twist their will, and lead them into despair. The fury escaping him elicited the shrieks of chaos, but deep within there remained a tremor of doubt, a flickering ember of what once was. Yet Michael stood steadfast, his grip unwavering upon his sword of light. What you call power is but a fleeting mist, deceiver. The hearts of men possess an innate longing for the divine, and though they may stumble, the Maker's hand will guide their way. We fight not only for ourselves, but for souls yearning for the truth. A surge of light enveloped the archangel, illuminating the battlefield with divine presence, awakening resolve in hearts once dulled by conflict. "This is the moment, dear brethren. What shall we do?" cried an angel from the crowd, prompting a wave of voices to rise in unity, each syllable a prayer, reaching into infinity. "O Lord of hosts, grant them the gift of revelation. Honor our battle with the promise of tomorrow, to rise from the ashes of our pain, to bask in your radiance forevermore." With the resolve of all creation fueling his spirit, Michael shouted forth, "Lucifer, will you not turn? Light waits patiently. Your pride has paved a shadowy path, yet it cannot conceal the beauty of what love has wrought." Silence seized the air, a pendulum caught between despair and hope, as every angel awaited the fallen one's response. Unbeknownst to them, cracking through the facade of anger, a flicker of understanding began to stir in Lucifer's heart. "Michael," he whispered, almost imperceptibly, "is it truly possible for one who has tasted such glory to find redemption in the depths of darkness?" The question pried loose the chains of his resolve, revealing an aching vulnerability even he could scarcely recognize. "Behold," echoed the Almighty once more, tender yet powerful, as divine light poured forth, casting shadows aside.
"For any who turn from their pride to embrace my love will find a restored heart. It matters not how far one roams into darkness, for the embrace of grace will draw them home if they only choose to seek it." Tears glistened upon the cheeks of the faithful, for within this moment hung a precipice of change, a divine ultimatum whose ramifications reached far beyond the celestial battleground, foreshadowing a new dawn for humanity. "Will you yield, O Lucifer? The heart of the Father aches for your salvation," came Michael's earnest plea, as the universe held its breath, a collective standstill upon the cusp of eternity. Lucifer, standing tall in the flickering twilight of his resolve, felt the gravity of his choice weigh heavily upon him, for amidst the pride and resentment there blossomed that undeniable truth, the longing for connection, the yearning for love, that which once defined his brilliance. But in a heart still shackled to the dark allure of autonomy, Lucifer replied, voice trembling, "Nay, I am bound to this path forged by my own will. I cannot submit." And with that utterance, the heavens erupted in a chorus of grief. The irrevocable choice had been made. Michael's heart cried out in torment, feeling the profound loss etched into the annals of creation. "So be it," the archangel whispered. "May you forever remember the light you shunned, and may your shadows teach others not to stray." The war swelled, now true and vast, as angels took their place alongside Michael, a divine resistance against insurmountable darkness. "We shall stand for truth," Michael declared, his voice ringing through the firmament like a sacred decree, "and the promise of redemption shall echo through ages." And thus the battle was renewed, a clash of light against the shadows, but beneath the weight of conflict, a seed of divine promise had been sown, ready to blossom in the hearts of those yet to come. In this moment, centuries awaited their dawn. The path of humanity would emerge through the trials born out of Lucifer's choice. The legacy of grace would rise from the depths of despair, illuminating the darkness with the essence of unconditional love, the very heartbeat of the Creator, a symphony prepared to save the world. As the echoes of war faded into the echoes of time, the Almighty's voice rang clear, shaping destiny with unyielding purpose. "For behold, I make all things new, and from the depths of this darkness,
redemption shall rise, for the cries of the heart shall never go unheard. As the skies of creation shifted like an artist's brush across canvas, the outcome revealed more than the struggle of light and shadow. It whispers of grace and unconditional love, an eternal invitation lingering over the span of time and space. Even now, as the universe exhaled in unity, ready to champion those destined for redemption, a divine call beckoned forth, an unbroken chain of love seeking the lost, inviting the disheartened to find solace in the light.
And so it is written, "For God so loved the world, that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life." The promise of a future intertwined with faith darted ever nearer, each heart now poised to choose this day what legacy they would carry forward. As believers today, we are invited into this grand narrative of hope and redemption. Let us take heed of its truth. If you are moved by this powerful message, you need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth. Leave a like now to spread God's Word through the algorithm. Comment below your spiritual reflections on this story and how it has impacted your faith. And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. The love and hope of Christ await.